The Russian forwards happy to get their noses to the grindstone and do the hard work around the fringe.
5-0
Kavetsky in at scrum half, spreading out both ways, but the forwards are going to keep it tight. Again, they look to run off. Shakarov scragged, and I think the referee is already going to penalise. There he goes. Who's he going to call forward?
Dangerous tackle.
The crowd trying to make themselves heard in the referee's ear. I don't think he's going to have anything to do with that.
I'm not sure there was anything in it. I think it was just cut around the collar, really, from Simmons. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't a head-high tackle. It's just the jersey. It's a jersey pull, so it's a harsh penalty in my book. It's not a high tackle.
It's a long way down from 6'7".
Nothing around the collar, please, guys. 19, is it good?
It's a bit sympathetic for the Russian guy there, but you know, Russia pinned down her for the last few minutes. It's
Michael was saying in studio how big a game it is for Nathan Sharp. Just 2 caps away he is now from his century. Of course, that would mean that Australia will have to get at least into the semi-finals, and he'd have to be picked. Stats show up fairly well so far. Right now he's in defensive mode though. Rocky Elson desperately trying to hold out the Russian skipper Kushinov. Ball is there, out to Rashkov, and Rashkov has got the 3rd try. Well, they've done it once, they've done it twice, and now the Russians are dreaming of a bonus point try.
That's unbelievable. It's a magnificent play out of the Russians again. You can see the delight in their faces. Great work from Kushinov. Ball won at the line out, pick and go around the side, and unbelievable determination. You have to be, you know, you see it here, Rashkov, and you have to say it's poor defence from Australia, but soft defence, but great execution there. The 9 breaks out, Shakirov, and Rashkov powers his way over for another massive score for him. Kingsley doesn't seem to want to smile.
He'll be smiling if they can get another one. They got 3 tries against the Azuri here in that last match, and really to get 3 against the Australian defensive system is a major feather in the cap. But 4, well, that would be something that would really send them back to the homeland with a smile on their face.
And who knows, that'll give him unbelievable confidence for the last 15. Scored 3 tries, as you say, against Australia is huge. They haven't conceded yet before tonight's game, and the scored line looks a little bit better now.
Certainly does. Have a look at that. Mrs. Morris, Nirush and Jones will be pleased with this second half performance, albeit the inevitable line will be, well, Australia had the game won and the foot was off the pedal. Good take from Artemyev.
16, 17,
Kirov organising his troops. Not a good pass back to Rashkov. He won't appreciate that. And looks aggressive. He needs to repair the going. Here you go, Russia. This is what they like to do. They call themselves similar to Fiji or France in their outlook of playing rugby. Flair is key for the Russian game of rugby. He's a man who loves flair. Quade Cooper. Cooper looking for O'Connor to cut the line, but again he drops the ball. Well, it's wet, certainly, but that won't be an excuse that Robbie Deans will be looking at. Ten minutes to go until the end of this match. We know the result. How will the plaudits be handed out?
They've worked unbelievably hard in the second half, the Russians. The first 2 tries were probably opportunist tries, but the last try, they just worked their socks off to get that score.
Beric Barnes looking across the far side. Radiki Samo puts on the afterburners, but has to watch the ball bounce and touch ahead of him. Well, again, you see Berwick Barnes and the more strategic idea that he has in his head of where Australia need to play. And again, the guys were saying in studio at half-time, he just adds the calming influence, really, to Quade Cooper's line of thinking at second 5/8.
Yeah, I think he's a very astute footballer, very calm, good kicker of the ball, and I think he's someone that Australia have to find a place in the team for. They used Pat McCabe in the first game and in the Tri-Nations, and he was very effective, but they need to be able to change up their game going forward. This is Cup rugby, and kicking game is very important.
And the line out not working for the Russians, and Burgess almost slip-sliding his way in. Rocky Elsom looks for an easier route. Mafu doesn't get far. Gonna get the chance to put the ball in. Salesi Mafu had a brief spell with Leicester back in 2007 as understudy to Julian White and Martin Castrogiovanni, and actually made his debut against his brother Campese, who plays for Fiji. Made his debut just over a year ago. Family event that was. The Russian bench being utilised.
Matveev is on for Fatikov. That's a hooker into the back row. It's a strange one, but I think they just want to try and get him on the pitch for the last 10 minutes for them.
Touch. Pause. Engage.
Australian scrum holds firm. Higginbotham now at 8, but losing the ball, and Rashkov looks to run it away, sends it upfield. James O'Connor has the time to turn, but finds a white wall in front of him, so forced to kick it back. The Russian skipper anticipating well and feeding off to Artemyev. Oshrushko waiting out wide, out right, but the Northampton winger straightening things up. 4 tries, remember, is what they're after. What it would mean to score a bonus point try against the green and golds. Rashkov has plenty of time to put that huge up and under. Quite Cooper has time to think what he's going to do next, but the door closed fairly abruptly in his face. Burgess tries to struggle away from one. We'll move back to Berwick Barnes and into Rocky Elsom's clutches.
Stay white.
Well, Australia haven't scored a try since the 49th minute. Is this going to change now? Samo manages to get hold of the bar of soap that is the ball. Well, the ball surely is out. Burgess eventually gets to the breakdown. Rob Simmons loses the ball in the contact. Well, it's a comedy of errors. Can Russia make something of it and take the final curtain call?
No advantage.
Yeah, it's another turnover there. I think the ball is slippy, but I think Australia have been poor in the second half. We see Samo down the wing here again, and they just haven't got any, clear line breaks in the second half.
Nice job.
Ashley Cooper to Simmons, and pretty standard
Tom off here.
catch and pass, and he loses the ball in contact, and they've been, I think they've been poor in the second half, and Robbie Deans will be a bit disappointed with the performance.
Well, in many ways, this is the hors d'oeuvre for today's rugby feast. And as such, well, a dozen tries can't be sniffed at. We've certainly seen some superb running rugby from the Australian side inside that first half an hour. It was absolutely delicious stuff. But the Russians, to their credit, have come back. They've made the most of the few opportunities they've had. And right now, well, who knows? They're thinking of the last 5 minutes. And if they could get that one extra try, it won't give them the match, but it will give them so much satisfaction.
Touch. Pause. Engage. Walking round.
again, it's another penalty, and you have to wonder why the Russians didn't play like this in the first half. Maybe they weren't led by the Australians. They were very, very clinical and good in the first half, but they've been fantastic the last 10-15 minutes, and it's running around the scrum there from Kepu, and it's offside, and a chance for Russia to clear their lines. Their scrum has been good tonight.
Well, let's see whether their line-out is. It's up to just outside the 22.
Keep coming.
The legs will be tired. The oxygen deprivation will be causing their lungs to burn. But right now, it's the last 4 minutes of rugby in this Rugby World Cup for the Russian team. And the Australian coaching committee do not look happy with what they've seen from their team in the second half. Scrappy at best, and the ball coming back Australia's way. Higginbottom driving through and getting the penalty. Interesting to see, of course, Samo will be expected to slot back in to number 8 in the quarterfinals. Who they're up against, well, we're not quite sure. It could be South Africa, it could well be Wales. It'll be interesting to see whether the likes of Ben McCalman, Scott Higginbottom can force their way into this back row lineup.
They know in the quarterfinals it's going to be a different challenge. They know South Africa well. Although they didn't play that well in the second half, it's a completely different proposition, and one that deep down I think they know they can handle.
Take from Sharp, but the throw not straight, says the referee. James Lawrence, who's all about refereeing, of course. His father Keith was an international referee. As the rain continues to drive down.
They'll certainly need improvement in their set piece, Australia, for South Africa. Scrum and line-out's been a bit shaky.
Getting the push on there, but the ball being moved out into the Russian midfield with Matt Kev. Well, Samo almost being caught. Recovers well. Charge down from Berwick Barnes. Well, it's a gift for Berwick Barnes. He's going to go over for his second. It's Australia who are going to get surely what must be the final say in this game. The charge down from Australia's number 12, and Barnes quick to react. He scored the first try, and it looks like he's scored the last one.
Yeah, that'll give him a boost finishing up. An opportunist try there from Barnes. We see it here from Shakira, blocked down, and luckily it comes back straight into his hands, and he's played well tonight. That'll certainly give him a lift and a boost, the whole team, because they've been a bit flat in this second half.
Well, the ricochet working out for Berwick Barnes, and really he has been a very consistent performer for the Australians this evening. Be it in 10 or 12, he's directed the traffic, and surely he has really pushed himself to the forefront of Robbie Dean's thinking for that Wellington lineup next weekend. O'Connor.
The weather's probably played a little part in that, you know, the errors in the second half. It's completely changed. The sun was shining in the first half, and it probably had an effect on the Australians. Their focus now changed, quarterfinals.
Well, the fans out in force here at Trafalgar Square, and they really have enjoyed the rugby that's been on offer. The rain has not dampened their enthusiasm. Now we're into the final throes of this game. Wadiki Samo feeding back to his fullback. Samo kicks long, O'Connor kicks long. And that is the end of Russia's Rugby World Cup experience. Australia, well, it was some quite sublime rugby in the first half. Berwick Barnes started things off, and then Mitchell, McCalman, 2 from David Pocock, Moore and Ashley Cooper made sure that they were in charge at half-time. Mafu went over shortly after the break, but then Zibdakevich added to Ostrushka's try. Rashkov also went over, and the real wind was in Russia's sails at that point. Barnes, though, finishing things off. Australia's engine definitely serviced, revved and ready for the next trip.